Hello, my name is Brenda Conte. For those of you who do not know me, I'm very new on YouTube, but I've been around Facebook, so you can join me on Facebook. But on Facebook, my name is Brenda Cesar Conte. I'll put the details down for you in a moment. If you check my history, I've been talking a lot about social services and what we can do to prevent our children being removed from us. The reason why I'm so interested in this topic, I've been working with groups of people, with organizations where they deal with victims. That is, people who have got their kids removed, and also dealing with children who are in the foster care or are waiting to be adopted, the families and everything. And one thing I've noticed that it is very devastating when you have your child or your children removed from you. And sometimes it's very draconian. And sometimes we believe that there are other ways that they can save the family, because once the children are removed, the family goes, there is no family left, and it's very difficult, not only for the parents but also for these children who find themselves in a situation where they cannot see their parents, they cannot see their siblings. Because in most cases, even though when the social work department was formed, they were told that siblings should not be separated. But nowadays, they come out with things like, well, we do not have a placement. A placement is like either a foster home, a care home for these children, or an adoption home, okay? So they will say that they don't have placements for all of these children, so they don't have a choice but to separate these children. So you can see that the separation of the kids from their own siblings, from their parents, it can have a devastating and a long-lasting effect, negative effect on them. And that is why myself and a group of people, we decided that we have to do something to help in our own little way, especially with regards to parents, black or minority ethnic group. Because in UK where I live in London, by the way, we saw that the data shows that they take kids from black minority ethnic background more than the white kids. Or when I say white kid, I mean like the British, because they put on the statistic puts white kids, like kids from the European Union, under there, okay? So we have to look at how we can advise our people on what to do. For instance, because when you come to the UK, nobody tells you what the law is with regards to beating. They don't tell you what the law is with regards to leaving your children at home. Up till now, we don't know what age we should leave the child or the children at home. And if something goes wrong, that is when you will be faced with these social workers who can be very brutal. I remember a case where this one was somebody from Japan, a mixed race man, and the wife has died, so he had the care of the child. The child, I think, was even 11 years of age, was in secondary school, I think the first year in secondary school. And unfortunately, the man went to work at night, and the child got up and tried to cook something, and one thing led to the other. The house was on fire. So, but he was lucky the fire brigade came in time, and they were able to rescue the child. But they had to call the social. And when they called the social had to take the man to court, because their claim is, why would you leave the child alone? So, when something goes wrong, that is when they will come, and they can be very nasty. It can be a very brutal thing. The man went through the rigorous of the family court, and the family court as well, I touched on how it is built. But I think I will have another program on that to go into details. But for today, I just want to tell you that when you are faced with either your child or your children, they have been removed from you, or they're about to remove them from you, they said knowledge is power. It is best that you know what to do. By the way, I want to make it quite clear here that there are lots of social services doing a lot of good work. Because like I'm talking about parents who their children are forcefully taken from them. There are parents who look at the children and say, I just can't cope. There are some parents who are struggling with alcohol abuse, with drug abuse, and they just can't cope. Sometimes it's mental depression, mental illness, okay? So they will just hand their children over. They say, I just can't cope. So in many of those cases, the socials they are under the obligation to house these children, to take care of the children. So they step in as a parent. So a lot of time they do have it right. The other situation where they have to forcefully remove the child or the children when they've got enough evidence that the child or the children are being neglected, they've been abused physically, mentally, or whatever way, or even sexually, which is a very serious offense. So there are times they get it wrong, correct. But we are looking here specifically about when they get it wrong. Because when they get it wrong, it is very devastating, like I said, to the family. You understand? So we want to try not only address the socials, but to address the family. What you can do to save yourself from going through this heartache, to save your child or your children from going through this heartache. So one thing you have to know, when a social comes into your family, they come knocking, knock into your family. One thing I have to tell you, you have to be on your guard. Because what it is, in most cases, they don't just come because they want to play with you, or because you are beautiful, or because your child is beautiful or clever. They come because they have received some kind of information that there's something wrong with the home. So they want to come and investigate in some cases. So investigate means investigate. They can come to the home saying that, okay, the child says that you beat in the school, and they can come, you open their door for them, and they can come and see all the things that they can write on their report. And this is why I have gone through what you can do to save yourself, okay? Because sometimes they will come on a particular time and maybe to just investigate, and they can close the case. Maybe 2-3 years, 4-5 years down the line, something else happened. They will say, this family has been known to us. Is there something wrong? So you have to always be on your guard when dealing with them. You have to remember that you have to save yourself. Nobody is going to save you when push comes to shove. So please listen to this and listen to me carefully. In the case where they're about to take your child, or they've taken your child, let us look at the case where they're about to take your child, but you have suspected that they're going to take the child. Because what it is, before they go to court, since they are the one taking you to court, they want evidences. So during that build-up time, these are the points you should know about this, so to help you. So even when you go to court, at least you've got this information, okay? One thing you have to do, you have to be your own advocate. Like I said, nobody is going to do the work more than you yourself. You have to be watchful. You have to be prepared. And one thing you have to do, how would you become an advocate? Before you sign, please, it is important, because especially in England, where I live, or the United Kingdom, they have what is called the Section 20. When they know they do not have the power, if court doesn't give the social power to care for your child or to remove your child, then it will be illegal. So what they normally do, before they have gathered all their evidence in a very smart way, where a lot of parents are not aware of this, they will ask you to sign Section 20. Section 20 is you, like, temporarily giving the right, your parental responsibility, your parental rights to them. And a lot of parents end up being very disappointed or regrets why they signed it, because it normally starts like that. Because there's a threshold to go to the courts. So they have to have enough evidences. But when you will sign that document, you will give them time to gather evidences. And some of these evidences can be false. So don't sign. I'll have to come back and talk to you about signing. Signing, don't just sign. In many cases, before you sign a document, make sure you have the advice of a lawyer. So when they will give you, because they will threaten you, they will bully you, because they want you to end up in court. So what they will do, they will say, if you don't sign, they will brag, if you don't sign anyway, we are still going to court. Don't listen to them, as long as your signature is not there. Because what happens when your signature is there, when you end up in court, they will say, well, these parents they will turn around and twist it. They will say that, these parents must know that they are guilty, and that is why she or he signed this section. And that is not why the section was there. The section was there to give them temporary custody of your child until they do the thorough investigation. And according to the section 20, you have the right to take your child away from them at any time. But no. The moment they have their gloves, the gloves or whatever, on your child or your children, it is very difficult. They don't want to let go. They don't want to let go. So don't sign your child or your children away. Don't sign. Let them talk. Let them talk. Tell them and stand by it. That is another fishy area, because what happens even when you call the lawyers will convince you to sign. The reason why the lawyers want money, because if what they will be advising you, they will not have money until you go to court. So you have to remember, if it's me, don't sign anything. Don't sign. Okay, let them take you to court. So you become your own advocate. Okay, you go and find an attorney. In a lot of cases, it's best to have an attorney that is not in your borough. Because what it is, if you go and have an attorney that is in your borough, many times these solicitors would have represented the local authority in the child protection case. So they know themselves, and they will look at it difficult for them to fight for you, because they will look at you are one person and they want to be in the good books of the social or the local authority. So go outside your borough. Maybe it's outside London if you live in London, or if you live outside London, find somebody in London or somewhere else, okay, to represent you. And make sure you read the credentials of the lawyer. A lot of times it is best to have lawyers that work in farms, because they will hang head together how to defend you. Okay. Another thing you should do, this is very important, you can write it down, or you can listen to what I'm saying here. You must request, because when you're having these meetings, even before you go to court, or even if you're not going to court with social, they are recording everything. Sometimes they'll sit down there and talk to you. You won't see them writing, but maybe the phone is on recording you, or maybe it's in their head. So what it is, you make sure any meeting you have with them, inform them that you want to record. There are times they said, no, you don't, but then it is your right to record. So in that case, if you want the meeting to go ahead, make sure you write everything. Write it down, so that when you finish writing it down, at the end of the meeting, ask for that information the social holds. Those social is writing or holds. Yeah? With regards to your meeting. The reason why this is important, because a lot of time people think they are professionals, but you have a lot of sadists there. Like any places, okay, you have people who go there to abuse powers. So that is why don't trust them, trust yourself. When they write, or when you are in a meeting, demand immediately to get a copy of what the social have written down. Don't want to be blindsided. You don't want in the situation where you find yourself in court and they have all these lies about you. Sometimes some people will not survive it. So what it is, ask for all that information, data under the Data Protection Act. Ask for it, okay? And then when it comes, you will compare it with your notes. And if you see one slight mistake, do not wait. Correct it and send it back to them until they correct it. Do not give up. Maybe they will send it to you and say, oh, there's nothing to correct. Say there is something to correct. If they refuse, report them to the ombudsman. That is the beauty of us that live abroad. We have ombudsman that can, not in all cases, but in most and in some cases, they can help you. Okay? That is what you do. It is your right. Yeah, somebody should not have a meeting with you and then they go and write rubbish about you. Don't wait until it is too late. Okay, that is one thing. Like I said, do a timely shopping. That is, you have to seek an experience. When you go on the internet, especially if it's a farm, you will look at cases they have won, whether it's similar to yours, and that is when you can be able to sniff out solicitors that would act properly for you. Because a lot of these solicitors in child protection, they just succumb and just do whatever the social wants them to do or see. Okay, so that is another thing. Another thing you can do, you should start, like I just said, a paper trail. Every time you talk to social services, document, write down what was said, and you write that letter, like I just said, to the person, asking them to either confirm what you have written or not. Okay, that is there to protect you, like I just said, because of the lie. Arm yourself with power. What does that mean? Knowledge. Read a lot. Research. so that you'll be able to fight them, know what to do to fight them. Knowledge is power. Knowing how the system works and what is required of social worker can help you. That is why the first thing they should do when they meet you, they should give you all their pamphlets outlining your rights, you understand, and their rights, what to do in the event you are not happy with them, and a lot of information is there. So demand that you get that information, because it can help you in the future or there and then. Okay, now yes, you force them on the defense. When you force them to do their job properly, that report will show all their responsibilities, and give them a lot of work so that they will know that you are not one to reckon with. Okay, and that is where you ask for the policies and procedures, read the manual and documenting of any violation. So the moment you spot a violation, that is the socials have violated your rights, act immediately. Okay, or gather more information to act later. Now many a times the police would have got involved. Maybe the child would have gone to report to the police, and the police would have something like 72 hours to hold the child or in their custody. So you have to check records, police records and court documents for errors, all that, just like I said with the social, so that you have to start sniffing errors. Don't wait until you go to court, because they will just be lying and it will be overwhelming. You will sit down there in a very confused manner. Okay, so you will look for every errors, because a lot of times when people lie, you will find out that they will make a mistake. So you will see reports, different version of the reports, and that can work to your advantage that you can use in court later, because the court or the judge, the magistrate, or whoever is presiding will look at it and know that that witness or that the person that they are fighting for is not a reliable person. So you have to remember, you have to check records. Okay, you have to look at names and dates. You have to list every opinion that is presented as facts and give your attorney a copy. You have to ask your attorney to clarify them in court. So any area that you doubt, you see how you prepare. You don't leave everything to your attorney. You prepare and make your attorney's work be very easy, and make sure that these things that I'm telling you will help you get back your child or appeal. Okay. If nothing else, social worker will have some explaining to do in court. Yes, the court, they do shout at them. They do hold them responsible, especially in events where they see that they have not done their job properly. Okay, now who is saying what? You ask social worker. If not, ask lawyer to request of all case notes and any other documentation that social worker has against you. So ask for all the documentation. Sometimes you will not even know, but make sure you ask and make sure you write it down that you want all of the information. Say because tomorrow, if you go ahead, you don't want a surprise, and if a surprise comes, that documentation or whatever surprise would be null and void. They don't want to hear that, so they will start complying. Okay, because you remember, you are a human being with your own rights. They have no right to steal your children. They should go give back to their own. Okay? Okay. Or you can ask the lawyer to do it on your own behalf if you don't want to deal with some of their rubbish. Okay? You have to teach your children how about this social, because there are lots of cases where we see the children innocently get sucked in by a friend who would have told the child or the children that, oh, I'm in the foster care, they give me everything. Paint that picture, and these children would want something like that, and they might end up going to report something they should not report. So you have to be telling your children what it is involved, what social service means, and when they get involved in the family, what it means, and so many things. Teach your child, because knowledge, they said, is power. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be coming with more. This is just a part one. I don't want the audio to be very long. I will be coming maybe later in the afternoon to give you the part two of what you should do when you are faced with local authorities like the police, the social workers, the mental health, any third party. If they misuse and abuse you and they take your liberty, they should know why they do it, and they should make sure that that is the only thing, that is the last resort. Okay, so thank you very much. Like I said, I'm new on YouTube. This is mainly for YouTube. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. We have more juicy beans to spill. Okay, and don't forget that notification button is important, because a lot of you will want, once I go live, will want to ask me questions which should interact, and that is why the notification button is there. And last but not the least, share knowledge, share power, share. People who share, God bless them, because God will share his love upon you. Thank you so much. And don't forget, start by now, by sharing, by hitting the notification button, and by let me don't say it. Okay, so thank you very much for watching this show. And please, if you know of anyone who is faced with this dilemma, please, you can contact me. I will put my WhatsApp number down, and I will put my email address down, so you can contact me either by calling me on WhatsApp or emailing me. So I know that I will try my best to help out. Thank you so much. God bless. Have a blessed day. Thank you so much.